This is an RCA Radiola 20. I bought this thing several years ago, probably over 10, and I bought it because when I lifted up the lid, I saw this. It had a full set of tubes in it, plus 2 spare tubes new in the box. The last patent date I could find is 1925, which is when this radio was made, about 1925. Here's another look at the inside. It's got 5 tubes, 4 199s, and 1 120 tube. This plaque was put in by the maker of the cabinet. And here's a shot of the back. I've taken the tube out so you can see that in the back there, that's where you plug in to the ground connection and the antenna connections. Back to the outside of this radio. Here's a closer look at the 2 dials in the front. Now the dial on the left, that's the tuning dial. And here I've taken another picture of the tuning dial so you can see that the owner of these radios could actually jot down the stations that they found on the dial. Now the dial on the right, that dial operates a coil that physically moves closer to another coil. So basically this is the feedback control of the regenerative circuit. Here's the front of the radio, and you can see that it's got 4 controls and 2 RCA jacks. And here are the 2 controls that are all the way to the left. These are variable capacitors. And that RCA jack is sort of about in the middle of the radio. So you could use that for an earphone. These 2 controls are all the way to the right. And these are rheostats that control the voltage that goes to the filaments of the tubes. And the RCA jack in the middle, that is for a speaker. And the 2 connections all the way to the right, that's where the meter plugs in to keep track of the filament voltage. Now it's time to hook up power to this radio. And on the lid are the instructions of how to do this. It has every lead listed and has all the information you need to hook up all the batteries to this set. It also has this plaque about the Radiola 20. Now when I had power hooked up to this, I carefully took out each tube one at a time and checked the plate voltage on each tube, and they all read good. So what that tells me is that all the primary coils that go to the plates of the tubes were good, which is very good news. So now it's time for a functional test. Well, I can get some noise out of it. As you heard, the radio is trying to play, and here is one of the major problems. The variable capacitors are not working properly. They all should move together, and as you can see, they're all kind of independent. The center one does move mostly, and of course the one all the way to the right here moves all the way, but the one all the way to the left doesn't move at all. So I've got to take this out of the cabinet, and if you take the 4 screws out of the bottom and take the tubes out of the radio, you'll find that the whole radio will slide out from the front. Also, you need to unscrew the umbilical cord that goes to the batteries. So it's going to be interesting to see what's wrong with the capacitors and also come up with a physical fix for this radio.